This form of storytelling is basically, fundamentally, an act of worship. So there will be a problem in a house in rural Bangladesh, and the Patuagan storyteller will be invited to the house to perform. And the Patuagan storyteller will arrive in the house and for an hour and a half, decorate the room in which he will perform. Effectively sanctify the room with incense, with offerings, perhaps lights and candles. And having done that, the Patuagan storyteller will sing, chant, and speak in prose for 3 to 4 hours, telling the story of the life of Gaji. This is Gaji here, the central character of the story. And in doing so, the storyteller is asking Gaji to bless this house, to heal the problem in the household, the marital strife, the illness, the bad luck. And so the act of storytelling is a prayer. This is not entertainment in the sense that we might regard a storytelling event here in Britain. This is a ceremony, a religious ceremony, as much as it is a performance. And Durjun Ali Mia here and Mongol Mia, who we'll meet in a few moments, the Patuagan storytellers who've come over to Britain, receive very little money for what they're doing. They don't do it for money. Durjun Ali Mia here repairs umbrellas for a living. He does this work because his father did it and his grandfather did it. And he does it as an act of devotion to Gaji here. Whenever I thank Durjun for what he has been doing, he says, please no thanks to me, all thanks go to Gaji, all thanks go to Gaji. So, as I have said, he will sing for 3 to 4 hours at a time. So we have asked him to sing certain excerpts of the story across this evening. And he'll be accompanied by one of the other band of storytellers, the Palagan storytellers, who you'll see later on. This is Musla Urdin, who'll be accompanying him on the drum. And when Durjun is singing, Musla is watching, listening very carefully. And if Durjun reaches the end of a phrase and doesn't know quite what to sing next, needs to grope for breath or needs to cough, then Musla Urdin is there to echo the last sentence, repeat the last sentence that has just been sung, to support him, to give him energy, to keep the momentum going. And then he'll resume. So, each one of these performances always begins with a prayer to Gaji. And we keep returning, almost like a verse and a chorus to this prayer to Gaji. And the prayer goes something along the lines of, lazy mind, cluttered mind, busy mind, always remember the name of Gaji. If you remember the name of Gaji, help will come. If you are in trouble, if you call to Gaji, he will come. Having sung this, Durjun then goes on to describe this panel here. And in this panel, it is depicting Gaji with his brother Kali. And then Durjun, you'll see Durjun pointing up here to the father of Gaji, whose name is Sekundur, and the mother of Gaji, whose name is Ajuba. Sekundur was a king, Ajuba was a queen, but a queen of another world, a magical world away from here, another world. So you'll see him point here, and there, and there, and then he begins to sing the story of this panel, of how Gaji left behind all worldly things, could have been a king, could have been rich, had everything, but he wanted none of the worldly things. What he wanted was to think, to meditate on the spiritual. So he left it all behind to walk into a forest called Shundarban. And there in the forest he built a cell, a monk's cell, a hermit's cell. And there, whilst he was in the forest meditating, such was his holiness, the tigers, and you'll see Durjun pointing at the tigers came to salute him. All the tigers of the forest came to pay devotion to him, such was his holiness. And even the great river Ganga, and he'll point to this panel, the great river Ganga in the form of a woman on the back of a crocodile, she too came to salute Gaji, to pay him respect. Once again then he'll return to lazy mind, cluttered mind, remember the name of Gaji. Then Kalu, the brother of Gaji, comes to him and says, 12 years we've been in the forest. When we were in the city we had everything, we had food, we had everything we would ever wish for, but here we have nothing. I'm hungry, I'm tired. 12 years, what has this 12 years been for? Show me a sign. And so Gaji says, my brother, stay here, be with me, my companion. I'll show you a sign. And so he prays, and as he prays, you see Durjan pointing to this particular panel. Because as he's praying, there is a tree, a dead tree, and the tree bursts into flower, comes back to life again. Hello, come on, welcome, have a chair. And it's interesting, this image of a dead thing come to life, because there's almost in there, I think, a slight metaphor of if you believe, only if you believe will you have life. So then he returns, after this anecdote, Durjan returns, lazy mind, cluttered mind, remember the name of Gaji, help will come if you remember the name of Gaji. And then he'll point to this particular panel here, which depicts a merchant. A merchant was by the side of the river. Gaji approached the merchant and said, what do you have in your boat? And the merchant, he knew that if he answered the question truthfully, he would have to share what he had in the boat with Gaji. So he lied. He said, I have nothing. And he pushed off the boat and he set off. But as soon as he did, the clouds gathered above the merchant's head and waves rose up and rain fell against the merchant's face, and the merchant found himself in fear of his life. And in that moment when he feared for his life, he knew what he had done wrong. And he remembered the name of Gaji. He gave the respect that Gaji deserved. And in that moment the clouds parted and the rain stopped falling and the water was calm again. So lazy mind, cluttered mind, always, always remember the name of Gaji. Durjan Bali Vir.
Well, Gaji Kalomani Pir Common Numbers. Ore Pashan Monamar, Ore Horto Mega Zero Namoloyo, Are Horto Mega Zero Namoloyo, Pashan Monamar, Horto Mega Zero Namoloyo, Are Tome Loyo Nam, Tome Loyo Nam, Tiana Dio, Pashan Monore, Horto Mega Zero Namoloyo, Monore. বাসায় ধর্মাতা সকল দখিয়া ওগুলো এসে দেওয়া গাজি আল্লাহরে ভালোইয়া বাসায় মনরে প্রথমে গাজির নাম লইও প্রথমে গাজির নাম লইও বাসায় মনরে প্রথমে গাজির নাম লইও আর মনরে আশা হাতে তার মধ্যে সমানে করো ভাই আল্লাহরে ভালোইয়া গাজি কি হইয়া যাবা আল্লাহরে ভালোইয়া গাজি সকলেই বাদ জানাই সেলাম একারি টাকারি বাদ আইয়ে মেলা দিয়া গঙ্গা আইয়ে রে তুমি আসি হইয়া পাশার মনরে তুমি গাছি ওই তুমি গাছি নাম লইও পাশার মনরে তুমি গাছি নাম লইও আর মনরে একারি টাকারি বাদ আইয়ে মেলা দিয়া পুরা গঙ্গা আইয়ে রে তুমি সুবর দিয়া গাজি বলে কালো বারে দেখো রে নয়ানে যাবি যাবি পানে বারে যাবি রে সারিয়া মনে ফকির হবো আল্লাহকে ভাবিয়া পাশার মনরে তুমি গাজি নাম লইও তুমি গাজি নাম লইও পাশার মনরে তুমি গাজি নাম লইও আল্লাহ গো পানে বাই তুমি দাঁড়ায়া আল্লাহ তুমি লাগি ফকির বসিয়া তখন তোমার হিসাবে দোয়া Gaji নাম ও মনে এই যে অনাই সদা করে বেটা অনাই সদা করে তার বিনা বয়া চলে ধর্মরাতা সর তার বিনা বয়া চলে ধর্মরাতা সর লাইরোনা সাইরোনা বিনা না করিল তো কুলে থাকা গালি সাবে ডাক দিয়া তো কুলে থাকা গালি সাবে ডাক দিয়া কর কিমা ও চমনা কিমা তোমার নয় ওনা সাধু করে আমার কর্মকে লেখা ও বাড়িতে হলো বলে লগে দেখা গাইলো না সাইলো না রে তা হয় বিশালতা করে আমার মনে সাধু বিশালতা করে আমার কাজী সারের কাছে করতে দিকাতে কাজী বলে কাজু পারে করে নয় রঙে বিশালতা করে বেটা আমার সাথে তোতে আজ্ঞা গিয়ে করতে দিছে তোতে আজ্ঞা গিয়ে করতে দিছে না আমি তো কান্দারে তো কান খাইলো আমি তো কান্দারে তো কান খাইলো তোরা দিয়ারে কাজটা হলো তো তো দিয়া আছে মনে পাশানো মনে তুমি গাজি তুমি গাজি নাম লইও পাশানো মনে তুমি গাজি নাম লইও আরে কুল করো গালি কুল করো করে করিয়ে দিবসিনী দলে গাজি করিয়ে দিবসিনী দলে গাজি আমি কাটাবাজি তুমি এমপি আগে দিতাম কলা পাশে প্লিজ কারো দলে গাজি কারো লোকা হইলে দিবসিনী দলে গাজি গাজি দিন তারে আরে দুয়া করছিল তোর আশা তুই কোন হইয়া গেল পাশা ওরে তুমি গাজি তুমি গাজি নাম লইও পাশা ওরে তুমি গাজি তুমি গাজি নাম লইও পাশা ওরে তুমি গাজি
So we're now going to hear a piece from Mongol, who is an apprentice to Patuagan. And he is going to sing various sections that are not directly connected with the life of Gaji. Some of these panels are domestic scenes, much closer, connected much more directly with the everyday lives of the people who might be watching in this. So he'll begin with lazy mind, cluttered mind, busy mind, always remember the name of Gaji. And then he'll point up to here, to this particular panel here. And he'll tell the story of how there was an old man who would sit in his house with a hookah, puffing on the pipe all the time, puffing, 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 and you'll hear koro moro, which is and the wife, she's walking around and there's this thick smoke all the time, and her husband is puffing and puffing, and she gets sick of it and she pushes him. And he falls over and the whole hookah comes down on top of him. And the top of the hookah with the charcoal in lands in his beard, and his beard catches fire. And even though there's flames rising up from his beard, he's still rummaging around on the ground to try and find the pipe to take another puff. And the hookah is furious at how obsessed he is with smoking. So the different parts of the hookah fly off in every direction. And he stands up and he looks down and he says, what am I going to do now? How am I going to smoke? But then he remembers Gaji's name. And all the pieces of the pipe return again. So he can sing. So lazy mind, cluttered mind, always remember the name of Gaji. Then Mongol will point to this panel here, which depicts two women spinning. And as they're working, they forget the respect they should show for Gaji. They forget to show respect to Gaji. They forget Gaji's name. And so in doing so, once they finish spinning, one of them, she walks away. As she walks away, she's attacked by a tiger because she has forgotten Gaji's name. So lazy mind, cluttered mind, always remember the name of Gaji. If you do, then help will come. If you do, those who have been in danger have been saved from their dangers, thanks to Gaji.